Welcome. You are about to take a journey to a place of the divine love within with Deborah Beauvais on the Love by Intuition show. For the next hour, allow her to prepare you in becoming a magnet for a profound love-infused relationship by identifying and focusing on solutions through love. Awaken the light within and let your essence shine. And now, here's Deborah Beauvais on Love by Intuition, all part of the Dream Vision 7 radio network.
Welcome, everyone. Bonjour, mes amis. And yes, this is Deborah Beauvais, founder and owner of the syndicated Dream Vision 7 radio network, as you probably hear every single time we do a show. If you're listening for the first time and you're not aware of us, we are a Boston-based internet radio station fully producing, and you can listen to us wherever you are in the world, whether you want to go online, get our apps. You can ask Alexa to play Dream Vision 7 radio. You can also listen in the cars, all kinds of ways you can catch the shows. And check everybody out. We have the most amazing hosts all there just for you, giving tips and their modalities and their vision and mission, all to help the human race to come together in unity consciousness, as I always say, and then even to have a better life so that you, the listener, can grow and have a full life for you and the families. So today we have an excellent guest. Her name is Daisy Plaza. And how I met her was actually through Mark O'Brien, who has a show, The Anxious Voyage, which is on Mondays, 1 a.m. and 1 p.m. Eastern Time. He had Daisy on his show, and he has video as well. So if you'd like to go into Dream Visions, all one word with a S on the end, the number 7, radio.com, and just put in Mark O'Brien or Daisy Plaza, Plaza, and you can watch the video and listen to the show that he had. So I was just taken with Daisy and said, I want to have her on the Love by Intuition show. So she is an author. She has authored I Did It For Her, From Trauma and Fear to Pure Love and Strength. And we're going to talk about that a little later. She is a strong woman, mother of 4 children, and she has experienced trauma and violence in her home and community from an early age. Rather than letting that dampen her spirit, she used her experiences navigating trauma to help others on the front lines of the emergency room. And so we're going to get right into it. And let me put the number out. This is a live show. You can call in. It's 833-220-1200. Bob is in the house, and he'll put you straight through to us. So don't be shy. So without further ado, Daisy, welcome to the show.
Thank you. Thank you so much for having me.
You're welcome. It's an honor because I heard you speaking on Mark's show, and like I said, I was like, I need to have her on because there's so much trauma in the world, and your experience, they're all unique, but I had domestic violence in my first marriage, and it involved my daughter, and it was just, when I look back, I can't believe that I actually experienced that. And right. I was 21 years old when I ran away with my daughter. And so your experience is similar but different because we're left feeling alone in what to do. But when you look back, do you question, geez, how did I survive?
Not really, because in the beginning I thought it was normal. I thought that being in that type of relationship, that's what love was. Young, naive, trying to raise kids in a home that now I know was not healthy in any shape or form. If I can change it, yes, I would have left right in the beginning. But like I said, I thought it was normal. I thought that's what love was, so I stayed. And I stayed too long, to tell you the truth. almost 22 years is a very long time.
Yes, it is. Now, I have to ask you, because most women struggle with this, do you feel as though you didn't deserve anything better? And I ask that because I felt that way. I didn't feel as though I was valued. And so to be, hit in different things that went on, I knew it, in my gut, in my intuition, I knew that it wasn't right. However, I allowed it to happen because I just didn't think I had value.
Yeah, I have to agree with you. I definitely knew I deserved better. I just didn't know how to get there. And that's why I try to tell people now, especially young women, to love themselves. Because once you can love yourself, you know what that feels like. You won't allow someone to come into your life and not love you the way you're supposed to be loved. One, two, it just snowballs and it gets worse when you start to allow it. So when the one hit comes and you say, do I forgive this person? And you end up forgiving them. And then it happens again. How many times are you supposed to forgive a person? I think that during that time, I just didn't know how to get out. I didn't have outlets. And so that's why I also stayed. And fear.
Right,
they put
that's
fear
a big
in.
one.
Yeah, fear, manipulation. That was a big part of the relationship of me not knowing which way to go.
Right. And a person that's a narcissistic is someone that actually turns it around and makes it seem like it's all your fault.
Correct.
And you coerced or you manipulated them. Everything that they say is really about them.
Themselves,
projection, psychology is what they call that. So after a while, you start to believe it. And I'm sure that's what you were feeling at the beginning as well.
Well, I did because that was the second, my first relationship. I was not married, but I also was in a relationship where he mentally abused me and physically, but it was more mental. You're never going to be anything. You're never going to be able to do anything without me. You're not going to succeed. I was told that later on, even in my marriage, that he would put me in the Institute of Living, that he was going to make sure that I lose everything, that I lost my mind. And those are the type of things that they do to make you feel like you can't go any further or get, you can't be happy, you can't find peace, you can't do any of those things. They make sure that you feel like you can't have anything without that person. And I believed it. I was young.
Yeah. And it's really something that you were able to stay in that environment for so long, which when you think about it, exacerbates the way that you felt of no value. I mean, how do you start to feel that there is value within yourself when you've been there for so long? So tell us, you had the 4 kids and you shielded them as much as you could. The 2 older ones probably were better off because they were able to get out here and there. But so share a little bit about how your day-to-day was.
So my number one priority were my children at all times. So I made sure that they were always involved in things at school, always a part of something, sports. I never missed practice. I never missed a game. I made sure that they felt that whatever they did was important and that I was going to be supportive no matter what. I think to make it feel as normal as possible is to keep smiling, go to work, show them that you love them and protect them as best as you can. The abuse was always towards me and not towards them. Unfortunately, they had to see it and hear it, but I also wanted to show them what unconditional love was on my end. And that's what I did day by day. I made sure, I love you, and I hug them, and I was very attentive to their needs. And that's basically what I tried to show them every single day.
Right. Now that they, or once they became older, were you able to talk with them openly, and did they actually share their thoughts and their own fears, things of that sort?
Yeah, I think the two older ones, we've had conversations, but I think that the two younger ones saw the most, because even though they saw certain things and heard things, they were out of the house when it got worse. And so the two younger ones were still at home, because one was in college and one was old enough already to move out, because that's what he wanted to do. The two younger ones, they saw the worst of it. So our conversations were, how did you feel? And thank God I have a great relationship, I'm going to say, with all four of my children, that we're able to speak about everything and anything. And they basically stated, they were scared. They didn't know what to do when the cops were called, or they're in their rooms and not wanting to come out because they don't know what's going to happen. Or, the youngest one used to always come out and defend me or try to protect me the most. He, I'm going to say, was the one that tried to show that he was the bravest towards his father. Like, I'm not afraid of you, and I'm not going to let you hurt my mom anymore. I think that's the part that breaks my heart the most, because, as a parent, you're supposed to protect your children. Your children are not supposed to protect you. So I had a lot of guilt with that later on.
Well, let's talk about that guilt, because with guilt comes shame, and that's two of those. One of the predominant issues or things that we all hold on to, and there are people that have shame that has nothing to do with anything that they have experienced in a harmful way, but they hold shame. And I'm a big believer from my own spiritual journey that instead of running away from these thoughts and these feelings, it's running to them. How do you feel about that?
It took me a long time. I think after my divorce, I was able to really have a different perspective, and I had to, I guess, forgive myself. Yes. And also in that healing process was, what else do I do? What else can I do? How more of a positive impact can I be for myself and for others and my children after this? I think my guilt was that you don't want your children to grow up and turn out, I guess, of what they've seen. And I think that was my biggest guilt. Like, I should have left a long time ago. Maybe they wouldn't have seen as much. I thought of all of those things. And then I had to just tell myself, I can't change it now. I can only do what I can now. And that's how I look at life. I had to say, with the guilt, what can I do to make it different now? And so I told my children I did the best I could. But they also said, Mom, we know it wasn't your fault. And we don't blame you for anything. And that also helped me.
Yeah, that's so true, because you do what you know and the best that you can. And when you're living in fear, and you were for quite some time, all those years, it becomes who you are, and you're just a fearful person, and to have hope and to remove yourself from there, and then from that, now you're on your own, and you've got to sift through all these emotions and experiences that you have had, and you find out, and you're still younger, you find out that the journey of letting go or going to them, running to the pain and then releasing and then letting go and all the different pieces. And then there's triggers that happen. You can be in an environment where there's a trigger and something that you thought you were all settled and released and happy crops up again because there's so many layers and there's so many pieces to it that really, from my belief system, it's held in the cell memory and it's getting to the core and releasing. But that takes a lifetime. And I think it's worth it because I would much, from my own perspective, I would much rather do all the healing work from within with assistance if you choose, than to live in a cocoon of being fearful, guilty, shameful, because you're not living fully. You're not living the fullness of your life. Yeah.
Yes,
so you agree with that?
Oh, I definitely do. I'm going on 9 years of my divorce, and it's been the best 9 years of my life. And I will say this. The healing process is never easy. And having to face it was not easy. Having to figure out, how do I live by myself? I didn't know anything else but being a wife, right? And a mom. And so I had to transition, and it wasn't an easy transition. I also had to face everything that I've been through. And now how do I heal and get to where I want to go? That takes a long time and a lot of, you have to, and those triggers definitely happen. So I had to learn now when I have triggers to say it's okay because it's already done. And no one's going to hurt me, and I can keep moving forward. And that's what I've been doing for the last 9 years.
So do you feel safe, Daisy?
I do now, yes.
Good.
Now I do.
Yeah, and that takes a long time as well. I know with myself back in the day, I had constant dreams, and I was always running in my dream away from him. And that was before I was even, awakened that, okay, what is the purpose of life, or what is the purpose of me being here, and and choosing to, delve into your spiritual path. And that's something I wanted to ask you, too. Has the faith in something higher, however you want to call it, God, source?
I would say God, and yes. I do believe in prayer, I believe in God, and I believe that I wouldn't be here without that. I needed that strength, and I needed to have that faith to be able to move forward.
Yes.
So, yes, I definitely believe that.
Yeah, and sometimes you think, well, why can't someone step in, or why can't God step in? But yet the earth, again, from my perspective, the earth is, here as a learning experience. And if someone stepped in and stopped it, you wouldn't be feeling and experiencing, even though it's heavy and ugly and all of that, you wouldn't be growing your soul if everything was all peachy clean.
Yes. Though, I also tell people that a lot of situations that we're in, we can only control the things that we can, and the ones that we can't, we just can't. A lot of choices, though, that we make come with consequences. So I feel like if I made a choice to stay and I'm continuously going through something, I chose to be there, even though I didn't want to be. But you have to also intake, that goes through with everything in life, right?
Yes.
Choices come with consequences, or it could come with a great prize at the end, I guess. I guess it depends on where you are in life. And so that's the way that I look at it. And I always felt God has never left my side. I just had to learn to make a choice of, am I going to stay or am I going to leave? And I made the choice of, I'd rather die leaving than staying and dying. So that's why I decided to leave and say, don't look back.
So you have had quite some wisdom, because I agree with all that. And you already have found that truth. So good for you, Daisy. All right, so we have to take our first break. Sure. Everyone, we welcome your calls. As I mentioned, Bob's in the house. Our number is 833-220-1200. The book that we're going to talk about is I Did It For Her, From Trauma and Fear to Pure Love and Strength. And we'll be getting into that, but there's so much more that we want to talk about, too. So stay with us. Don't go away. Back in a moment.
Experience a different yet profound healing with Reconnective Healing. Includes yet expands beyond any and all known forms of energy healing. The Reconnective Healing spectrum is comprised of the full healing and evolutionary continuum of energy, light, and information. It allows for healings that are not just physical, not just mental, not just emotional, yet go beyond that to bring healing that includes the evolution of your very being and essence. Deborah Beauvais, trained and certified by world-renowned Dr. Eric Pearl, offers appointment hours at Seekonk Family Chiropractic in Seekonk, Massachusetts. For questions or to set up both distance or local sessions, call Deborah at 508-431-1959. Again, 508-431-1959. Or go to lovebyintuition.com. That's lovebyintuition.com.
Calling all authors. Have you been considering an audiobook? Well, look no further. Come take advantage of Dream Vision 7 Radio Network's unique in-house audiobook production, which includes benefits and bonuses from our radio station. Let our knowledgeable staff guide you to create the audiobook you've always dreamed of without breaking the bank. Check out our full one-stop service from A to Z, including the ACX process. Schedule a free consultation by calling 508-226-1723. That's 508-226-1723. Or go to DreamVision7Radio.com.
After narrowly surviving the attack on Sandy Hook Elementary, first-grade teacher Caitlin Roy DeBellis was left searching for answers that would never come. Eventually, she chose to focus on questions that could be answered. How do I make sure this tragedy doesn't define us? How do we get our control back? Those two questions led her to found the 501c3 nonprofit organization Classes for Classes. When gifts poured into their classroom, she decided they would help someone else by paying it forward and being kind. This developed into a social network which allows K-8 classrooms to connect so that every student in the United States can learn these crucial lessons. Classes for Classes' mission is to build students' social-emotional intelligence by connecting them to care. All C4C projects are crowd-funded. Any teacher in the U.S. can visit classesforclasses.org. That's classes, the number 4, classes.org. Sign up today.
Delight your kids with an enchanting journey by reading the Paper Doll Kids Children's Book by Deborah Beauvais and Janine Sullivan. There's even a catchy tune, Kids for Love Song, produced by Bob Sherwood and sung by kids just like yours. The story weaves around 7 paper dolls flying around the world doing good deeds as they bring important attention to our endangered animal friends. There's even a magical ring with a universal message. Kids become interested in service projects, action through compassion, and planting seeds that nurture positive change. The Paper Doll Kids and Kids for Love Song are a production of the Kids for Love Project. Get the book now on Amazon Kindle and the song on CD Baby or iTunes.
This is Dream Vision 7 Radio Network, uniting mankind with universal love. Our shows are created from the heart, bringing each listener to a place of divine enlightenment. Breathe, relax, and enjoy. Let life flow.
And we are back. We are with Daisy Plaza, who is a strong woman, mother of four, and author of I Did It For Her. And we're going to be talking about that probably in the third third segment, because I wanted to talk right now about how resilient you were, and then breaking the cycle. How did you, do you really feel that you broke the cycle and that your children will have relationships that certainly will not have anything to do with abuse?
I am hoping that I did. I definitely try to show them that that wasn't love, and to definitely know the importance of loving yourself and knowing what you deserve in life and that you're worth everything, and don't ever let anyone tell you any different. I try to encourage the boys all the time to treat a woman with respect, and I hope that that's what they're doing out here. My daughter, I was really afraid as well, but she is married, has a wonderful husband, and when she was in high school, she actually chose a young man that wasn't too good for her, but she recognized it early enough and got out. So I was happy about that, because that kind of tells me she was paying attention. And our conversations didn't go in one ear and out the other. So I say yes. I think that our conversations worked, yeah.
Yes, and you've actually said it's time to take back the life that I so rightfully deserve.
Absolutely.
And how did you do that? I mean, how did you get to a place? And I know, as we said earlier, that it's an ongoing journey and revisiting different things. How did you get to the place of feeling the self-love and really knowing it from your core?
I knew it in the beginning, being divorced for a while, I started then dating a while after, about a year or two later. And I noticed that I was picking the same type of men. And I said, what is it that I'm doing wrong here? And why am I still spinning in the same cycle? So I decided when I wanted to write my book, I said I will take the time for me at that moment. And I dedicated no dating, no nothing. I just wanted to be at peace. I wanted to write this book, and I wanted to give it my all. And for me to give that all of my attention, I couldn't give anybody else attention. At that moment, I realized that it brought me peace. I was very happy. I started to see things differently in life. My perspectives changed. My conversations were different with people. And when I got to write my book, I have to say it was the most therapeutic thing I've ever done in my entire life, because you get to take everything that you have inside and you get to put it on paper. Yes. I think the hardest part, though, was reading it back.
But that's all part of the healing, as
correct.
You well know. Yes, it's with anything that we write and put out there, whether it's a death in the family or a death close, or any of the hardships, I really feel that we're compelled to write so that we can heal, even if you're not writing a book, but you're writing in a journal. It's all part of the process of healing and soothing oneself.
That's one thing I pass along to my children, especially my daughter. I tell her, any little thing you want that you feel is inside, just write it in a journal. You don't have to share it with the world, but it'll make you feel better. And she does it.
Yes, That's very good advice, Daisy.
Yeah.
I'm impressed with you. So, so you got to the point where you're feeling good, and you went through. Well, there's a couple of things I wanted to talk about. One was that you actually saved a gentleman's life. You worked in the ER, and they were sending him and his wife home, and she said something to you. Tell us a little bit about that, because that shows, and I'm getting a little goosebumps now, that shows the truth of who you are, and it shows a brave wanting to serve people. It's just who you are. I don't know if that came to you at that time, that was really who you were, but tell us a little bit, the story.
Yes, so I worked at the hospital for many, many years, and I had the pleasure of working in the emergency room. I did, especially in the trauma units, and at this time, I happened to come out for something, maybe a break, and I saw this woman, and she locked eyes with me, and she basically said to me, "There's something wrong with my husband. I was just discharged. They're sending us home." And, of course, I ran over there, and I went to go speak to him. And I just asked him basic questions. Do you know where you are? Do you know your name? Who's the president? And I learned that just from listening and working in the emergency room for so long. And he couldn't answer those words. And so I automatically called security. I ended up calling over to the trauma unit. They rushed him over, and they caught it on time. So I ended up, she always says, "You saved my husband's life." She came to see me because they ended up having to, he was having another stroke. So they had to bring him back upstairs. And I remember her coming back to see me, I believe, a day or two later, and she's like, "I want to thank you for saving my husband's life." And I didn't know how to take that at that moment. But I just believe that I was put in a place at the right moment, and I thank God I was able to do that for them. Yeah, it was crazy.
Beautiful. Yes. And you've actually have had illnesses as well.
Yes.
How are you doing now? And do you see that it may be that those illnesses were coming out, had a connection to the pain that you were holding because of the abuse?
Well, I think that it can definitely affect it. I have psoriatic arthritis. I have it from probably my neck all the way down to my toe. I don't have it in a specific area. I have it everywhere. I've been diagnosed since my early 20s. I've been in and out of the hospitals for it pretty much all my life. I am now disabled from it, so I don't work a 9 to 5, can't work anymore. I'm in pain pretty much all the time, but I don't, I want to say this, I push forward every single day. I never use it for an excuse of me not being able to do something in my life. And I never wanted to use the word disabled as if I wasn't worth anything and that I couldn't do anything. So I turned around and said, I can still be someone. And I'm going to be. And that's how I think of my life every single day. So every time I wake up, I'm very grateful. And
you already are, You are someone. You're not going to be. You are someone.
Oh, thank you.
You have huge value, and you're making a difference in the world, telling the story, your story. So yes, go right ahead. I had to say that.
No, that's why that's why I always tell my kids, you guys have no excuses. I truly believe in life that when you fall, it's how you get up and what you decide to do after that fall. And I try to show them that regardless if some days I can be in bed for 2 or 3 days, you know, I struggle sometimes and I'm in pain, but I never complain about it. I never tell my kids I can't. You know, it's just a bad day and it's going to be okay. And tomorrow will be a better day. That's the way I look at life.
Yes, because in essence, it's a privilege to be alive.
Yes.
It really is. Through all the pain, through all the heaviness, through all the tragedies, you find that as you go along, you know, you can say that I'm in gratitude for having that person in my life, even if it was X amount of years. I'm in gratitude to breathe. I'm in gratitude to experience. Not everyone has the opportunity to experience the life that we are experiencing. So it's a blessing, and I always feel that it's a privilege. And there are people that would, you know, want to take our place so that they could be here. And that's the other piece of it too. Is some people, you know, if they've had loss, and whatever loss you want to, you know, there's a number of different things in that category. You know, you can say, well, my life is over, which I've experienced that, but then you realize that, you know, you're honoring them by living your life fully, because they cannot. And when you look at it from that perspective and know that they're always there, you know, so. Well, let's get into the book now. You wrote this book.
I did.
Actually, you met Erica, who was your son's girlfriend, and she grew to be like a daughter for you.
That is correct.
So tell us about that.
Oh, my gosh. This young lady was about 16 when she met my son. They were both in high school. They started dating. She then started sleeping over on the weekends, and by the time you know it, they're going to each other's proms. We ended up having, in the beginning it was like she was a little bit standoffish. You know, she's young, she doesn't really know at the time, and then we started having these great conversations within a year or so into the relationship. She started to get closer with me, and we used to have these conversations at 1, 2, 3 o'clock in the morning. And I started to see, oh my God, her story kind of sounds like what I went through when I was younger, like, you know, teenage stuff. So I understood her, and she loved that I listened. And then she was always with me. She lived in my home. She then started college at UConn. And her and my son decided to get an apartment together. So every weekend I would get called and say, can you come over and sleep over? I'm like, I'm on my way. Like, it was a great relationship. I loved her to death. And, you know, she knew a little bit about my story. We used to talk about things. And she said, you know what? You really need to write a book. And I said, you know, I want to write it. I just don't know. And we used to have this conversation all the time. And she actually created my outline. So I still have it in my computer from her. It says, you know, the first 47 words are the most important and always have a cliffhanger, she wrote. And then she wrote down the cutest thing. She loved to read. And then she created like what would have been titles that then became chapters later. And then unfortunately at the age of 20, she died in a car accident. And right before she passed, she sent me a text, probably a week prior, and said, hey, I want you to keep your promise and make sure you finish your book. And I didn't know what to do with that at that time, and I was devastated. I wasn't well for a very long time. About 2 years later, I decided to keep her promise, and I went on the journey of writing my book.
Beautiful.
Yeah.
Well, hold that. We're going to take a break, and I want to hear more about that and some other things we have to chat about. So everyone, stay with us. There's still time to call, but hurry. It's 833-220-1200. Bob is waiting for you. And we're talking with Daisy Plaza, author of I Did It For Her, From Trauma and Fear to Pure Love and Strength. Stay with us.
Take a journey to a place of the divine love within with Deborah Beauvais on the Love by Intuition Show, Monday through Friday at 6 p.m. and 6 a.m. Eastern. Our message is love in the purest form. The light within us all is a guide to recall our beginning, to learn to love self and humankind, and to feel the higher power of our own divinity. To attract love, one needs to be love. Come join us and step into this glorious vibration called love.
Delight your kids with an enchanting journey by reading the Paper Doll Kids Children's Book by Deborah Beauvais and Janine Sullivan. There's even a catchy tune, Kids for Love Song, produced by Bob Sherwood and sung by kids just like yours. The story weaves around 7 paper dolls flying around the world doing good deeds as they bring important attention to our endangered animal friends. There's even a magical ring with a universal message. Kids become interested in service projects, action through compassion, and planting seeds that nurture positive change. The Paper Doll Kids and Kids for Love Song are a production of the Kids for Love Project. Get the book now on Amazon Kindle and the song on CD Baby or iTunes.
Are miracles real? Can you move from mayhem to miracles? 30 prominent authors say yes as they share their high fives and down lows of challenges, abuse, addiction, and love. Experience hope, the magic elixir of miracles, through the personal stories of New York Times best-selling authors James Redfield, Dr. Bernie Siegel, Sister Jenna, Reverend Temple Hayes, and many more. If you like bestsellers, Chaos to Clarity, and Crappy to Happy, you'll love crying and laughing through Mayhem to Miracles. Sacred Stories of Transformational Hope. Available now on Amazon and in bookstores worldwide.
It's a child's job to play, to learn, and to have fun. It's an adult's job to keep them safe. Did you know that 1 in 4 girls and 1 in 6 boys will be sexually abused before the age of 18? Every day, families enter the Children's Advocacy Center because a child's courage to tell someone what happened to them. Keeping our children safe starts with a conversation. This is Michelle Aranger, Executive Director of the Children's Advocacy Center. Learn more on how to keep your child safe. Visit cacofbc.org. This message made possible by the Fall River Rotary Club.
This is Dream Vision 7 Radio Network, uniting mankind with universal love. Our shows are created from the heart, bringing each listener to a place of divine enlightenment. Breathe, relax, and enjoy. Let life flow.
And we are back, and before the break, Daisy was actually sharing what happened with a young girl, Erica, her son's girlfriend, and she was in a car accident. And some people judged you for being so intense in sorrow because she was not your daughter. Did you try to explain that to them or just realize they just didn't get it?
I didn't bother to explain. I feel that even if you can't have empathy on how I'm feeling or have some grace or have some kind of, you may not understand how I felt, but you can tell, or let's say you have anybody pass away. Don't you go through certain things? And so I wanted to kind of express that, but that's almost kind of common sense to me. So I didn't want to do that. And I said, and I'm not going to explain why I love her the way that I loved her. Because they weren't there. And this young lady was a part of my life for almost 4 years. She knew I loved her, and she loved me. And you know, we were okay over here. So I was hurt by it at first, and then I said, I'm not going to explain that. That's ridiculous.
Yes, yes. So how is your son? Because he was devastated as well.
Yeah, he is actually, I'm going to say he was a lot stronger than me. I'm going to say in the beginning, I couldn't fathom the idea of burying a child. I just felt like that is so unfair. And I waited for a while, but I knew eventually it would hit him, and it did. But I think that we were a great support system for each other.
Good.
And he's doing very well, and we get to speak about her in a great manner. Like, we keep her, remember what she used to do at so-and-so's, and remember when that's how we speak about her.
Yes, which I think is beautiful, to keep someone, you know, some families feel as though you never bring up, especially old school, you never bring up their name. And that, to me, is so wrong, although everyone makes their choices, as you had said earlier, and it's so true with everything that we live through or choose to believe or act. Yes. But yeah, it's a lot of times it's just being in your own grief and knowing that it takes time and it doesn't matter what anyone else says.
Correct.
Because everyone is different. Some people aren't emotional.
Right.
So what is interesting in the book, it talks about that you were in a car accident later on, and the woman that hit you,
her name is Erica.
Erica.
Yes.
And I thought, oh my gosh, and I'm getting little goosebumps now, the connection, and that you survived, and you had a wonderful angel lady that was there waiting with you until rescue came. So tell us about that, and have you made that connection in your own mind and heart?
Yes, so it was so crazy. It was literally 2 weeks after Erica.
Oh, yes, it was a short time.
Short time, yes. So when I had my car accident, the only thing that I can remember is saying, God, I'm not ready to die yet. And so the woman who came had this vibrant, beautiful butterfly on her shirt. And she said, I'm not going to leave you. I saw everything. I won't leave your side. I felt that she was meant to be there with me. I think the crazier part for me was I never knew the woman's name that hit me until, of course, they got the report, and I get paperwork, and I open it, and her name was Erica. I'm like, how? I was speechless, and I ran to my son, like, do you see this? And he was like, yeah, that's crazy, Mom. Till this day, we're just like, I don't know, but I just feel like intervention.
Absolutely.
I just feel like all of that was her. So I left it at that.
Yes. Yeah, so that, there's miracles, and it wasn't your time, and she was there.
Yeah, I truly believe that.
So where are you now as far as, are you happy in your own skin? And you've got grandchildren now.
I do. I have 8 grandchildren.
Oh, my goodness.
Yes. I have 8 grandchildren, and I have one coming next month, which will be the 9th. So my 2 older sons have 4 and 4. And, they have 4 and 4. And then my youngest is now, he'll be 25. He's having his first child. I love being a grandmother. That has been the biggest blessing of my life. Where I am now in my life, I am happy. I am advocating for those who can't advocate. I want to be a voice for those who feel like they don't have a voice. I wrote this book. I thought it was for me to heal, but it had a whole different purpose. And so I feel that now I try to use my story to try to help others. And if I can inspire one, yes, in many places.
Locally, you've been speaking at different schools?
So I did. I had two 93.7. I had 2 interviews with them on the radio station.
Oh, good.
I had Niantic Prison. I went to go visit the women there. I was actually just asked back. I'm going again in April. I was chosen for Inspirational Woman of 2024, where I got to speak for the Boys and Girls Club, which was amazing.
That is amazing.
Yeah, so I have another one coming up as well for a woman, South Windsor Commerce. It's for a big women's network that I'll be doing March 13th. I've done e-network for women. I've spoken at their events as well. So I'm hoping that this continues for me. Yes.
Well, I mean, I say there's 10 people in the audience. It doesn't matter whether there's 10 or 100. If 10 people are moved by your story, and it changes their own choices for a better path for themselves,
right?
You've done everything that you were made to do. As far as I really believe that when we find our purpose, and you have through this awful journey, but yet blessings all throughout, and that's now your work to help others. And if you can stop someone from even abusing, like you talked about your boys, and that makes a huge difference when you talk with the younger ones and talk about how we're all equal and respecting each other and celebrating our differences. Then they grow up with that belief system, and you can catch kids even if they have parents that are stuck in their stuff and maybe they haven't broken the cycle. Those kids can still turn around. They can make choices. They can see that there's hope, that there's other ways of living. So I commend you on all that you're doing, and I thank you for doing all that, because it makes a better world. It makes a safer world. So what would you, with the last few minutes that we have, what would you like to leave the listeners with?
I want everyone to know that resilience looks good on you. You wake up in the morning and you choose that. And life is not easy for no one. And some people deal with more, things in their lives, and I understand that too. But just to know that we have a choice, and we get to choose what we want. We get to change what we have. Things that don't make you happy, things that are hurting you, things that are not going the way that you want it, you have to work towards something else. Is it going to be easy? No. But I want everyone to know also, for every single no, it's the one yes that matters. Because that one yes will open up a door of amazing things. I have met the most wonderful people during my journey, and I'm going to continue this for as long as, God allows me to. Just know that you have to go and get it. It's not going to come to you. No one's going to give it to you, but it is possible. And I try, everybody has days when sometimes I wake up and go, I don't know if I can do it today. And then I have to change my mindset. Of course I can. So to everybody who feels like they can't, yes, you can. You just have to want it.
Exactly. Yes. You do have to want it. And I believe that once we taste, you can go from that feeling. We all have those times, those days where you wake up and you're just like, ugh.
Right.
But then at that point, you can say, I choose love. I am love. And you can make that choice, as you say. And then you can actually, if you allow yourself to feel it, you can actually feel your whole body shifting.
And it does.
Yes.
And it does.
Yes. Yeah. And our minds are so powerful if we only use them instead of allowing them to create different things for ourselves. In the negative aspect, we can train our minds to teach us how to heal our bodies, teach us how to find joy and peace in the world. And I truly believe that if we do all that within our own bodies and spirit, then collectively others will feel the same, and this division and heaviness and
well, with life there's a lot of fear, right? And you always feel like, what if I fail? But what if you don't? And also during failure you have to remember to learn from it so that you know what not to do, and then you can try something else. So it is a mindset. You have to be okay with certain failures, and you have to be okay with certain no's. I promise that those yeses are coming and things get better. And once you do get that little bit of a taste, it'll make you hungry to want more.
Exactly.
That's where I'm at. That's where I'm at in life.
You're so well spoken, Daisy, and you've I don't know how you were early on, but you're just a beautiful soul. You have grown so much, and you have a lot to share with others to make a difference in their lives. So I thank you for that.
Thank you.
And thank you for coming. It's time that we have to go. So I thank you for coming on the show, sharing your journey, your wisdom. And we want to hear more about you. We want to hear all the places that you go to make that difference, because you're one powerful soul.
Thank you so much for having me.
You're welcome. And everyone, get the book. Go out. You can get it on Amazon, Barnes & Noble, and wherever you purchase books. And we actually put it on our Books We Adore. I Did It for Her by Daisy Plaza, From Trauma and Fear to Pure Love and Strength. And until we come together again, everyone, in unity consciousness, au revoir.
Are you seeking a clearer path to love? Then tune in to the Love by Intuition show next week, all designed to your highest good. To contact Deborah Beauvais, owner of Empowered Connections, call her at 508-226-1723. That's 508-226-1723. Or link on to lovebyintuition.com. Remember, we are all one, and we are all part of the miracle of love.
This is Dream Vision 7 Radio Network, uniting mankind with universal love. Our shows are created from the heart, bringing each listener to a place of divine enlightenment. Breathe, relax, and enjoy. Let life flow.